what is a chord? Okay, what is this thing you've heard of called a chord? Well, it's basically just a group of notes, usually stacked triads when we're first talking about chords and learning about chords. But it's some notes that are stacked on top of each other. Okay, let's say we're in C major here. And they sound together like so. So different notes sounding together, in this example C, E, G. All right, and we have G, B, D. And when you put them together in progressions, okay, one after the other, we call that a chord progression. For example, if we're in C major here, then we have 1, 5, 1. Most basic progression in all of music. It is what is the foundation of all Western music and sets things up for us in our tonalities. Now, where exactly chords come from, how do we get the different note names, okay, the things that we are in fact actually stacking up? For example, in our C major example, where did the C, E, G, okay, and the G, B, D come from? Well, let's draw our scale as always here. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We're going to squeeze it in there. C, okay? When I stack up stacked thirds or triads, a triad, just like it sounds, is the most basic chord in all of music theory. It's where I'm stacking up thirds. And we've talked about intervals before, okay? But maybe we need a refresher. An interval is the distance between two notes. So these are all what we call thirds, right? C to E is a third, an interval of a third. So this is a third, okay? The G to B and the D to B is also called a third, stacked thirds, okay? And this creates chords, or the most basic chords. Now I can keep adding to these. So for example, if I go C, E, G, I can add another C, I can add another E, a G. I can keep on going with this C, E, G, C, E, G. As long as I'm using those notes, it's still called a C major chord, or since we're in C major, the 1 chord. Same with the G. I can go G, B, D, G, B, D, and just keep on going, right? And as long as I stick with those letters, okay, then it's going to be a G major chord, or if in the case, since we're in C major, it's going to be a 5 chord, okay? This is where chords come from. These are the basic ideas behind chords. Now, of course, in a previous video, we talked about where the Roman numerals, where the numbers actually come from, so you can go check that out if you're confused by the Roman numerals or by the numbers. But essentially, at its most basic, a chord is just a combination of notes that sound together. And you can mix them up in interesting ways. We get inversions, okay? So all these chords that I've put here for you, or these two examples, are both what we call root position, okay? Meaning they are built on top of the letter name for which they are named. So a G major chord built on G is in root position. When we change that bottom note, we call that an inversion, okay? An inverted chord, meaning this right here, E, G, and C. This is still called a C major chord, but it is now in first inversion, we say, all right? Or we call that a 6th chord because of this interval. Let me change my pencil there, of a 6th, right? This distance from here to here is a 6th. That's what we call the 6th chord. It's called, well, I'm running out of space here. Where does the, maybe you've heard this term, second inversion, or 6/4, okay? This is when we have the same chord, but now This note is the bottom, the fifth. See, our original chord looks like this. Yes, C, E, G. Notice we just still have notes stacked on top of each other. This is still C major. Whoops, C major. But now we call it a 6/4 chord, or second inversion, because of this interval of a sixth and this interval here of the fourth. Still C major. These are all C major chords, just in different inversions. So it has to do with what the actual letter names are, because all of these chords contain the notes C, E, and G. This is the basic functioning of chords. You can stack them up in lots of different ways. They are called a major chord because all of these notes come from the major scale. And this is the basic idea behind chords. And of course, this is the function of harmony. This is where harmony begins. We begin to understand it and how it works. And everything goes from here. So there are, all the different chords, all the different ways we can make chords, all the different varieties and flavors of chords will be in many, many more videos here to come on the channel. But this is the first step, is just understanding that they are, stacked on top of each other, sounding together. See you in the next video. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.